Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my preview of the Eastern Final. So the winner of this game will advance to the Grey Cup game taking place in Hamilton. No matter who wins, it'll be in Hamilton, the same way that they decide who gets the Super Bowl years in advance. So anyways, we got the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts. The Tiger Cats would defeat the Montreal Alouettes last week in a 23-12 victory to advance to this game. So let's see, what do we have here? So first off, we got the Tiger Cats with the regular season record of 8 wins, 6 losses, and 16 points. And then the Argonauts with a record of 9 wins, 5 losses, and 18 points. So the Argonauts would finish first in the East. However, it looked like it wasn't extremely clear who would get there throughout the majority of the season, but the Argonauts would lock up the top spot. So one of the biggest stories going into this game is the breach of COVID protocols by Bethel Thompson, which kind of made the CFL panic a little bit because basically the CFL put out a set of rules, at least this is my understanding of it, that they put out a set of COVID rules basically saying if you're not vaccinated if you're not fully vaxxed, you cannot play in the conference finals or the Grey Cup game. Now, with the Toronto Argonauts trading away Nick Arbuckle and really having no stable backup for Bethel Thompson, and no one else who would be able to go in and really stand a chance against the Tiger Cats, people are pretty mad that it seems like the CFL have kind of bent their rules to allow Bethel Thompson to play if he shows a negative test. I understand the outrage. I also understand the CFL side of things. So if you don't know, the Argonauts are not doing well when it comes to the way that their money is being managed. They're owned by the same group that owns the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Argonauts are suspected to be losing about $12 million every year. So I think the CFL knows that if Bethel Thompson wasn't playing this game and Toronto was pretty much hopeless, that this is something that's kind of scary for the Argonauts. So I think they made probably the best business decision they could, which was to kind of have a little bit of a scapegoat with the whole negative test thing. So, that way they kind of almost seem like they still somewhat care about the COVID policies, but also they still have the guy playing the game because there's really no game if he's not playing because we already know who will win that. But so that was the biggest story going into this because there has been talk about the Argonauts, and I highly doubt this will happen, but there's been talks. Apparently, when the CFL and XFL were talking, the Argonauts were the most interested out of the teams in the CFL. I don't know why. There are some saying, oh, yeah, they're losing a lot of money, so they'd like to go to the XFL. I'm like, no, that'd probably be the worst decision you could do. The reason being is because, I just want to clear this up before we get into the full game review, because I think this is important to bring up. Because the way that they draw fans in this game will determine their future in this league. So there are pretty much 3 options for the Argonauts. Stay in the CFL, whether that means with different ownership or maybe being like a community-owned team, kind of like the Bombers and the Roughriders and whatnot. So they could do that. They could fold, which I highly doubt they will ever consider doing that. And then there's the third option of transitioning over to the XFL, which I think is the worst option they could possibly do. And the reason people were saying, oh yeah, they'll have more TV markets. Yeah, but people in Toronto, to my understanding, they have, think about it. They got the Leafs, they got the Raptors, they got the Jays. They got those 3 major sports teams, and then they also have an MLS team, I believe. But the big one that they've wanted, that they've been eyeing up, is the NFL. They want a National Football League team, and that is what has been the struggle for the Argos, is that, people, to my understanding, some people in Toronto look at them almost a little down. And I'm not saying all people there, obviously not. People buy tickets to their games. I mean, they're not selling out, but I mean, they're buying there are people that definitely buy tickets and season tickets to go see their team play. But for a lot of people, I know that they kind of view it as not quite the same caliber. So I think if moving into the XFL, all you do is you just piss off the CFL diehards that buy tickets, and then you're going from, whatever sales you have now to even less than that. So I don't think that's a smart decision. But anyway, we're talking about the game. Sorry, I got so off topic. But it's about the Argonauts' future in the CFL. So I feel like it's really important to bring this up. So Argonauts have had some time off. Let's see how they adjust with this. The Hamilton Tiger Cats with a pretty good game against the Alouettes. I mean, especially now, I think the real interesting part is because Toronto is known for having a pretty decent D-line, and Hamilton's D-line was stellar last game against the Alouettes. The Alouettes were really digging their own graves, and Hamilton, all they did was just help them out. They were just killing Harris and giving him almost no time. And with Bethel Thompson now having to isolate and prove a negative test before the game, he doesn't have time to really practice and do much. I mean, like, obviously he'll be able to do a pregame warm-up, but, there are guys that are, in the gym, getting a little run around, throwing the ball around a few days in advance. I don't think Bethel Thompson is able to do that right now. So I think that's a big advantage for the Tiger Cats. I think Mazzoli is better than Bethel Thompson, to be completely frank. And I think that the only uncertainty in this game is if we watch last game with the Tiger Cats, Simone Lawrence, their linebacker, who was this year's most outstanding defensive player in the East, he went down partway through the game. He was out for about a quarter, went back in. So I think Hamilton fans really just got to hope that he's healthy. I think he is. But you just want to make sure you don't flare that up again, as you want to keep him in. He's an important part of that team. Brandon Banks and Jalen Acklin still looking strong parts of this Hamilton offense, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how much time Mazzoli has to be really thrown to these two guys, and because I think there's going to be a lot of throwing game, even despite probably the weather. I think there's going to be a lot of throwing game just with that Hamilton D-line. I'm not sure how comfortable and how confident Hamilton will be running the ball. Sorry, I think I said Hamilton D-line. I meant Toronto D-line. I'm not sure how comfortable Hamilton will be running the ball. On the Toronto side of things, I mean, obviously they didn't play last week, so that could be both a blessing and a curse. So they are either all rested up or they are too rested. And, they're not fully prepared for all the contact just because they've been taking contact out of a lot of these practices. So, how does that affect the Argonauts? I'm not sure. So, like I said, they got the strong D-line with Ray, Oakman, and then I'm going to butcher this name. Akibani? I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry. He plays D-tackle. I cannot say that name. And Law at the end. My apologies. Oakman, of course, which was named to the CFL's Eastern All-Star team, the basically just made-up team that never plays any game or anything. And then some other notable players. They got Richardson at defensive back, Nicastro at center, so good luck on that right in the middle of the O-line there. Good defense for Bethel Thompson against this Hamilton D-line. And then Gittins Jr., who is a known receiver for them, obviously. And then Bede, who is their kicker/punter and was on the CFL All-Star team for kicker, so in the kicking position. So this is going to be tricky for Toronto. I'll be completely frank here. Like, I don't see them winning. I won't count them out of it. I don't think it's fair to count them out of it. But Hamilton has the momentum from the game prior. They have the QB advantage. Then they have another QB advantage in the sense of Bethel Thompson not really being able to prepare for this game. And Bethel Thompson could really only blame that on himself for that. But I don't know how Toronto wins this game. I'm not sure. I think the only way that they really, really could win this game is if they really, everything is like, they show that break really helped them. That along with the D-line really shutting down the throwing game for Acklin and Banks by shutting down Mazzoli out of that, getting some sacks, getting some turnovers. I think the Toronto defense has to come up big, but I think even more importantly, I think the offense really has to solve that Hamilton D-line because I think this is going to be tricky. I'm going to go with the Tiger Cats on this one. I think the Tiger Cats are going to go to the Grey Cup final for the second year straight. So I would love to know your thoughts down below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't checked out already. And then we have our interview with Chris Walby, which is one of the greatest episodes of the Prairie Puck we've ever done. It is so much fun. Story time with Chris Walby, CFL edition number 1. It's up. Please check that out. You will not regret it. It is a absolutely hilarious and fun interview that lasts just under an hour, and I think you guys will all love it. So make sure you guys check that out. And then obviously, I'm not sure when it will come out. It'll be sometime, it may be late tonight. It might be recent, but I will be doing my preview of the Roughriders versus the Bombers in the Western Final. All right, so make sure you guys take care, and I'll see you guys later.